Hi beautiful creatures, welcome back. Today I have an update on my book that we're reading for book club, but kind of not reading for book club, The Soul of an Octopus by Sy Montegomary. My update is to tell you all that I finished this book last night. It came to an abrupt end for me. I thought that there were more pages, but there's actually quite a big chunk of bibliography and also of acknowledgements at the end of the book. So the book itself is about 200 pages. Yeah. So the book itself is 241 pages. So really it was a short story, a short and sweet and lovely wonderful story. So that's kind of my update on this, is that I'm sorry that I can't be joining into the book club for anyone that's just started reading this, because I devoured it in literally 2 sittings. It took me 2 whole days to read this book, and then it was done. And I couldn't put it down, and I kind of read it before I went to sleep, and I had octopus dreams, which was nice. And yeah, I wanted to show you some of the pictures from inside the book of some octopi that are mentioned within the story. And so Sy Montegomary actually met quite a few octopi and other creatures that she connected with in her journey in writing this book. And it's just amazing. It is just so amazing. She connects with wild octopus, she connects with octopus in the aquarium. You know, she wanted to learn how to scuba dive because she fell in love so much with the octopus, I love that one, that she wanted to, you know, witness them in their natural environment, and that was really beautiful. There was something that she says in here that really gripped me as well. And I think it was right at the end, in this last paragraph. And yeah, she actually got to know so many different octopi. Unfortunately, they don't have a very long lifespan, so quite a few died. And then one died from accident. And here we go. Hold on, I think I found it. No, I haven't found it. Anyway, look, just read this damn book, guys. If you are interested in octopi, if you are fascinated by how they behave, how they interact, not only with other people, but within their own environments, how they display their intelligence, full stop, the way that they work, the way that they move, all of that is kind of described in beauty in this book. And actually, I did want to read the little headings of each chapter because they're quite beautiful just in themselves. So chapter 1 is Athena, which was the first octopus that she met. So this little heading is called Encountering the Mind of a Mollusk. Chapter 2 is Octavia, which is the second octopus that she met, and they had a very long relationship together. This shouldn't be happening, tasting pain, seeing dreams. And in this particular chapter, in the second chapter, she describes the electric eel, and that it was totally dead asleep. They dropped a piece of food in it, and it was totally asleep. But it was still registering that it was sending shock currents. So that is evidence, well, she discusses that as evidence that the electric eel was dreaming of hunting. And she talks about how when we dream, we foster behaviors that we've learned, and it reinforces in our dreams how to learn those behaviors so that we can remember them. And obviously in a more less developed mind, that just is about hunting and killing prey and stuff like that. But it was still miraculous that she had witnessed this electric eel actually dreaming. So chapter 3 is Kali, and she didn't know Kali for very long. And this one's called The Fellowship of the Fishes, which is cool. Chapter 4 is Eggs, which is beginning, ending, and shape-shifting. Chapter 5 is Transformation, the Art of Breathing in the Ocean. This is where she describes all her adventures and her struggles with learning how to scuba dive, which is very fun. Chapter 6 is Exit, Freedom, Desire, and Escape. And that was a little bit sad, but pretty cool. Chapter 7 was Karma, Choice, Destiny, and Love. And that is the name of an octopus. And then the last chapter was Consciousness, to think, to feel, to know. So throughout the book, she talks about how octopi feel or sense things, which is through their arms. They actually taste the skin of you know, whoever. It's like they can taste actually within a radius of, I don't know, because it's, you know, damn you Americans, you use whatever it is, feet and whatever, and we use kilometers and meters and all that sort of stuff. So it was confusing for me to gauge the actual scale of it, but like within their tank, which is pretty big, they can taste when you just put your hand in, you know. So they have a remarkable sense of taste because their whole skin is essentially just one big tongue, kind of like a tasting organ. And that's how they also kind of sense the colors and stuff. They have different chemoreceptors in their skin, which is how they're able to camouflage so well, even though the octopus only sees in black and white. And opposed to us, like they can move each eye independently like a chameleon, and they can see in sort of a panoramic view as well, which she describes there was quite a fun little thing where the octopus is coming out of its tank and it's distracting everyone with its arms. And, you know, humans, we have a relatively like focal point, a one-track mind. We're focused at one task at one time. Octopus can multitask. Essentially, it has brains in every single tentacle, right? So one of the tentacles was grabbing the bucket out from under the keeper's noses with all the fish in it. Not to eat the fish, just to kind of prove, haha, I'm cleverer than you are, which I thought was quite funny. And there's quite a few little stories like that in this book too. So it was such a beautiful, beautiful way of finding out not only informative and interesting facts about the octopus, and also all the care that is required when you keep one in captivity, and sort of the stimulation and all that kind of stuff that they need, but also a really lovely way of connecting how we kind of view animals and the consciousness of animals and spirits and beings. How we view animals and their spirit, and do they have a soul, and that kind of stuff. And it poses some of those questions. Sometimes going from the consciousness bit into the other bit was a bit clunky for me when I was reading it, but it had enough of fun and interesting ways of kind of connecting the two that it wasn't actually bad to read. It was just sometimes I felt it went a bit disjointed. So she was talking about the octopus and then she would rant on about a couple of philosophers and stuff like that talking about human consciousness, and then she would go back. That's actually one of my octopi falling now. And she would talk about that and then connect it to octopus consciousness, and she doesn't really reach a conclusion with it except to say that she does feel that they have a soul, that they have a consciousness, and that they are able of communicating with us in different ways if only we are here and willing to learn. That any interaction that we have with animals is going to be so different to how we interact with a human animal, because we don't speak the same language, we don't have the same abilities. We need to find a middle ground basically when we're communicating with any sort of animal, and even more so with the octopus because it is so alien and lives in such an environment that is so different to our own. You know, their blood isn't red, it's blue because they get their oxygen from copper. So, you know, it's just one of those many and wondrous things that it was just such a joy and a pleasure to read. I did feel like I read it really fast because I was kind of hooked and I wanted to know what happened next. But I think I will give it a go again, maybe in a couple of months' time, and read it a little bit slower and just kind of really luxuriate in it. But I was so hungry for this book when I read it because I haven't read very many books about octopi that are actually really interesting and written in such a way that it's so easy and flows so naturally to read. And like I said, I'm definitely intrigued to read more Sy Montegomary. So that is my update with The Soul of an Octopus. I have finished the book, as I have mentioned, and I still want to hear how you guys are going, if you've loved this book so far, if you have any interesting things that you would like to share with me. If you didn't know some things about octopi and you're intrigued now to go and find them. If you haven't heard of the book, I definitely recommend reading this, The Soul of an Octopus, if you love octopi, if you're intrigued by them, and if you want to kind of explore this idea of consciousness in animals, in a particularly alien and weird animal such as the octopus. So, sorry, just had to adjust. Ugh, that's like so hot today in Sydney. Anyway, so I guess that's kind of it. I don't really have a book planned for the rest of this month that is a sort of book club book. I plan on getting back into Tracy Harding because I kind of left off there with one of the books that I was reading. I think I was telling you that I was reading this series, The Dragon Queens. So I kind of read the second book, and what is it? It's the Dragon Queens or something. I think that's the name of the series. There's 3 books in total, one of which is out of print. But I read the second book first, and now I want to read the first book. And then maybe read the second book again, and then buy the third book on iTunes. iBooks has it, so I think I'm going to go for that option. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about The Soul of an Octopus, and let me know what you think about Octopus Wisdom in general. Yeah, I'd be intrigued to know. So, as usual, sorry, I've had like various itches on my feet, which is why I look distracted. Healing tattoos, most unpleasant. So, as usual, I hope you all have a fantastic day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!